Your Excellency Ambassador Al Gaud, Excellencies, colleagues from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kingdom of Bahrain, Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon to all of you. Let me first of all thank the Director General of the Academy for Diplomatic Studies, Her Excellency Sheikha Munira, for inviting me to give a talk about significant aspects of bilateral relations. I am honored to speak at this prestigious academy among such a distinguished gathering today, as we are celebrating the milestone of Golden Jubilee of our diplomatic relations. I would like to briefly touch, though I'm sure you all are aware that we are planning to celebrate this occasion in a grand befitting manner. There are events planned starting today which will go up to a week. Bahrain Authority for Culture and Antiquities has put together this wonderful bouquet of programs. It's all available in the website, and I think you can also enjoy some of the performances as you like. This is available in the open domain. I am really looking, and we also have got one wonderful cultural troupe from India led by Mr. Jayavant Naidu. It's a classical folk fusion. They will be performing in Cultural Hall today and tomorrow. What I am really looking forward to today is the illumination of the historic Babel Bahrain and the Qutub Minar in India in our respective, each other's national tricolors. But the celebrations we plan to continue over to the next year also, focusing on different themes. The culture is one aspect, the economic trade is another aspect, people relation and specific sector, and which of course we will keep sharing. Now friends, coming back to historical context of our relation, I fully agree with Ambassador Al Gaud. It's so vast, our relations are so deep. I really couldn't think how I should start. But so I thought I'll start with sharing with my personal experience here. As a diplomat, we all travel to different countries for our assignments. Besides professional responsibilities, it is a very valuable and unique experience of learning so many different cultures and knowing the people. It's a process and takes time. I landed in Bahrain in July last year. Unlike many other places, I must say it literally took no time for me and for my family to settle down here. I again fully agree with Ambassador Al Gaud that we have such close relations, shared culture, and most importantly the warmth of the people of Bahrain, which actually felt both me, my wife, my son, we all felt at home right from the beginning. And of course, I must say that all the cooperation and support provided by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Bahrain, in not only in the professional capacity but also in making our stay comfortable in Bahrain. And in that way, I must say, I personally felt the depth of our deep-rooted civilizational ties, which date back to thousands of years to the period of Indus Valley and Dirman civilizations. And I don't want to repeat what Ambassador Al Gaud has already described our relations in terms of trade. There was a trade between the Bahraini pearls and the spices of India from over a century ago. And our peoples kept visiting each other's country. Some of the Indian families have come to Bahrain as early as over 2 centuries ago and are settled here. Similarly, in case of education also, our ties remain very strong. A lot of Bahraini dignitaries have studied in India, and in Bahrain also we have 8 Indian schools who are providing quality education to not only the children of our expat community but also to Bahraini children as well as from other nationalities. And so what I thought I will also touch upon a little bit of the modern context, and Ambassador Al Gaud has covered a lot of aspects. So There might be some repetition, so please bear with me. But I'll try to avoid that. I'll try to add some more things to it. One of the important aspect is the strong commitment, guidance, and constant support of our leadership, which has taken our bilateral relations to greater heights, deeper engagement, and broader bilateral cooperation. Excellencies, as you know, Bahrain and in fact, the GCC region is important for India. In addition to our historical connect, there is a presence of large Indian diaspora. Our two sides have mutual maritime and energy security, trade and food security interests. Our relations today cover entire gamut of political, security, economy, trade, culture, and education domains. Uh, his, His Excellency Ambassador Al Gaud already talked about the high level visits. We have this tradition of constant interaction between the leadership of our two countries. We were honored with the visit of His Majesty in 2014, which has set the roadmap of our present bilateral engagement. His Royal Highness visited India, and our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, visited in 2019, which provided further boost and diversified our relations. Uh, the and in between and since then, there have been regular visits at the ministerial level or senior official level. I will. I would like to highlight that even during COVID times, when travel was not very easy, in last 1 year alone, both our foreign ministers visited each other's countries. Our Minister of State was here last month, and our Ministers of Oil and Youth Affairs and Sports held the video conference to discuss these key important areas of bilateral cooperation. And there were two visits of Indian ships also to Bahrain, including the last visit, INS Kochi, which was led by our Western Fleet Commander. Excellencies, in addition to this, we have established bilateral mechanisms in diverse area of cooperation, which have met regularly. There are some mechanisms where there has been some gap, but along with the support of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and His Excellency Al Gaud, we are trying to make this more regular. These are like, in addition to High Joint Commission and Foreign Office consultation, we also have the security dialogue. Then there is Joint Steering Committee on Security and Counterterrorism, then Joint Committee on Labor and Manpower, and Health and Renewable Energy. I am just trying to, I don't want to bore you with the data, but just trying to give you the depth and broadness of our relationship, covering so many aspects. We in fact have a lot of meetings during the COVID year. Over last year, we have the third meeting of High Joint Commission, and the bilateral mechanisms in the area of health and renewable energy and security and counter-terrorism have also met. Other meetings are also planned. As His Excellency said, we are looking forward to the Foreign Office consultations, welcoming His Excellency Dr. Sheikh Abdullah to India, which will again review the entire gamut and of our bilateral cooperation. So, and coming to COVID, His Excellency has already said our two countries have really cooperated very well, and this is again a reflection of the resilience of our relations. Government of India and in fact global community has acknowledged and praised Bahrain's constant efforts and initiatives in coming to this situation where it is one of the countries who have handled the pandemic rather successfully, and it was led by His Royal Highness himself, all the efforts. The way Kingdom has treated its expat population, of which Indian community forms the majority, is simply exemplary. This is a lot of aspects were just at par with the citizens. The medical tests, the test and the free vaccination, and for which we are really thankful for the leadership and the government of Bahrain. And besides the welfare, as Ambassador Al Gaud had mentioned, that when we needed during the second severe wave, Bahrain was the first country to send the oxygen when it was needed. So that is the strength of our relation, and India also on its part continued to ensure that supply line remains open. There was a lot of disruption in travel, including the air travel, but we ensured that for this region, for Bahrain, this all supply lines for essential commodities kept open. And this air bubble arrangement is also one example where we tried to ensure the smooth travel of our people. And relevant agencies have kept in touch. In fact, the guidance for this collaboration again came from the leadership. His Majesty the King and the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, held a telephonic conversation in April last year. And since then, respective agencies have been in touch. We look forward to further collaboration in this regard, and we are presently in discussion regarding mutual recognition of each other's vaccination certificates, COVID app, and all technicalities, so that the travel between the two countries becomes much easier. Colleagues, the talk of our bilateral relations is incomplete without the mentioning about contribution of Indian community. Indian community comprises a quarter of Bahrain's population and has been an important link in furthering our bilateral ties. They have been here for decades. These includes businessmen, professionals, CEOs, they are doctors, engineers, chartered accountants, teachers, nurses, as well as a skilled and semi-skilled workforce, which are working in the construction sector, oil industry. They love Bahrain and Bahraini people, and they treat them as their second home. I mean, I can personally vouch for them, if not the first home. It's a dynamic community. Their contribution to the development of the kingdom and in promoting our bilateral cultural and economic ties has been acknowledged by the leadership of our two countries. While speaking about community, let me also add that the success of community in Bahrain is a result of kingdom's visionary policies of tolerance and coexistence, which has provided an environment to our community in which they not only excel professionally but also enjoys comfortable social and family life. I, through you, would take this opportunity to express our thanks and gratitude to His Majesty the King, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Prime Minister, and the government of Kingdom of Bahrain for providing such an environment and ensuring the welfare of the community, including in these difficult times of COVID pandemic. Excellencies, dear colleagues, we are working to diversify our relations to new and strategic areas of space, maritime security, fintech, and renewable energy. We look forward to Bahrain joining International Solar Alliance as member at the earliest possible. Our two respective agencies are also working to increase cooperation in the space sector as well as the launch of Indian Rupee card in Bahrain. In addition to Foreign Office consultation, there are a number of important visits which we will be working on both at the official level and high level. The third security dialogue is in pipeline, and we look forward to holding it as soon as possible. And we are looking forward very eagerly to welcome His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to India at the mutually convenient time. The good news is now COVID situation is quite good in both countries. And also similarly, we are working on, as His Excellency Ambassador Al Gaud said, that working on some new agreements and MOUs in critical areas of economic and trade, defense, education, environment, and traditional medicine. Let me, please bear with me for 2-3 more minutes. I had some also good news to share on the trade and economic front. Both our countries are working very hard to increase interaction between the business communities of two sides. In in the sectors where we have complementarities and there are opportunities. This has resulted in positive signs. I can share that bilateral trade this year so far is up 40% compared to last year. And in this, I must also add that last year it was stable. It was not as if because of COVID our trade went down. So, when base becomes low, the percentage sometimes looks higher. So that is not the case. And this year we expect our bilateral trade to be well above $1 billion. India is the sixth largest investor in Bahrain with a cumulative investment of $1.25 billion. Bahraini investments into India have also shown increasing trend. And there are discussions ongoing between the investment agencies such as Mumtalakat, EDB, Invest India, and National Investment and Infrastructure Fund to explore the opportunities of bilateral investment. There are immense opportunities. I see a bright future. There is a huge potential, as Ambassador Al Gaud mentioned, that in the area of health and pharmaceuticals, IT, big data, energy, including renewables, infrastructure, and food security. On the global and regional issues, our two countries share wide convergence, and we have regularly been supporting to each other's positions and candidatures in the international fora. We share views on peace, stability, and security in the region. We look forward to strengthening our traditional, close, and historic ties with the GCC countries under the chairmanship of Bahrain. Excellencies, friends, I have tried to provide an overview and bring out some aspects of our bilateral cooperation. As you can see, I think now you will agree that it has steadily progressed. And today this covers all important areas of our developmental priorities as well as issues of mutual concerns in the bilateral, regional and multilateral fora. I would end by saying that the golden jubilee of our diplomatic relations is an occasion to recommit ourselves to work towards further strengthening the long-standing dynamic partnership between India and Kingdom of Bahrain. Thank you so much for having me over in this prestigious academy, and thanks for your patience. Thank you.